So I'm here to talk about medicinal cannabis therapy, how it works, why it works, and what it's all about. Alright, so in our bodies, naturally we have a system called the endocannabinoid system. Right? And now it's designed by nature, right, to touch every cell in our body, every cell, trillions of them, and its focus, yep, come in, welcome, its main focus is to maintain homeostasis. Now homeostasis means perfect balance, right? So on a cellular level, every cell in your body in perfect balance. That's a good meditation, hey? Alright, you should do that every day. Just imagine every cell in your body in perfect balance. Because that is what your body is trying to do. Every moment we breathe, our body is trying to keep our body in perfect balance, right? And of course, we live in a dynamic environment. It's changing all the time. So we're continually doing this. It's not something that you just do once a year or anything, right? It's not like a car, you tune it up every month or something. It's being done every moment we breathe, as we speak right now. There could be up to 20,000 free radicals floating around in our blood right now. You know what a free radical is? Everybody know? No, okay, a free radical.
That's you.
You can't, yeah. You can't imagine how small a free radical is. It's just unimaginable. But it's like, you know what an atom looks like, right? It's got nucleus and there's all these little things flying around the outside of it, right? And like a flame, right? So one of those little fellas flies off and goes into your blood. That's called a free radical. Alright? And that free radical, smaller than you can see, could land anywhere in your body. It will try and force another one off and get onto another cell. That's what it's trying to do. And if it does that, it can cause a cancer. It can cause lots of other things too, but cancers are the ones we all worry about, right? So it can cause a cancer, smaller than you can see, and yet our bodies, there's 20,000 of them floating around your blood all the time, our bodies continually scrub them out and get rid of them. That's all part of our endocannabinoid system. Okay, now they named it after cannabis because it was cannabis that showed us it was what it was and what it does and what it was there. We didn't even know it was there before 10 years ago when they found the endocannabinoid system. So they were trying to figure out how cannabis made us high, right? And they found that it went into the brain and it went into this little receptor site that they'd never seen before. Didn't know what it did. So they named that receptor site a cannabinoid receptor site. So anything that goes into that they call a cannabinoid, right? So now yes, and what does the actual heavy lifting that goes inside your cells and wants to maintain homeostasis, or if it's a cell that can't get into homeostasis, we can replace that, right? So same system, endocannabinoid system, will shut that cell down and grow a new healthy cell there to replace it. Now the endocannabinoids, they come from our food that we eat. We biosynthesize them in our bodies. It's a natural thing from the food we eat. So diet does play a role, okay. And they go into the cells via these receptor sites. There's several of them. And once they get inside the cell, it's game over. We want, homeostasis from you, cell, or you're out of here. Okay? So the endocannabinoids do the heavy lifting, and phytocannabinoids come from plants, right? And phytocannabinoids mimic endocannabinoids. In other words, phytocannabinoids or cannabinoids from plants can do the same thing. They can lock into your cells via those receptor sites and bring about homeostasis. Now phytocannabinoids are not just on cannabis. We find them all through the plant kingdom. Don't want to be sexist. Okay, there's cannabinoids, and of course most of them are found in herbs, but when we look at the herbals, you know, things like, say, echinacea, there's like 5 cannabinoids on it, right? In cannabis, there's 150 cannabinoids. Okay, so that's why we love cannabis, because it's got so many cannabinoids all collected into one space for us. Okay, and all these cannabinoids, they can all go into your cells and bring about homeostasis. Now, we've got trillions and trillions of cells in our body, right? And to get them all into homeostasis, all into perfect balance, takes quite a dose of cannabis to reach every cell, okay? But there's a problem with taking quite a dose, and that is it'll make you really high, or you'll get some adverse effects that you don't like. They could be anything from being sick to anxiety or paranoia even, alright? Or they can be enjoyable adverse effects, right? But anyway, the thing is, more than your body can tolerate will cause this problem. So, best thing to do is to start off with really tiny doses, especially if you've never had it before. If you've had it before, then you're experienced and you know basically what size the dose will get you too high. So, and nobody likes that, right? All the hippies, nobody likes getting too high. Alright, so you've got to find the right dose for you. And so we'll talk about dose rate. When the scientists do their tests in petri dishes on human cells, trying to figure out what's going on, the more they put in there of cannabis, the more they put in the petri cell, in the petri dish, the more effective the cannabis is. And the longer they leave it in there, again, the more effective it is. Okay, so when they boil that down, it comes down to cannabis is effective over a duration and in a dose-dependent manner. So duration means you've got to keep it in your blood 24/7, don't let it wear down, right? And dose-dependent means your healing rate depends on your dose rate. Okay, so bigger doses cause more healing than smaller doses. But remember what I told you. Too big, nobody likes it. All right, so that's why it's tricky. Okay, you've got to find that happy medium in between where it's going to be effective and where it's not going to get you too high or ruin your day. Okay? And the way you do that is to start off with very small doses, take it regularly, like every meal, and then after about 2 or 3 days, your body gets used to it in your blood, taking it consistently, right? And so it's then quite safe to increase your dose a little bit, just add a little bit more, another drop or something like that. I'll pull figures out of a hat just to sort of give you an example, right? So say you were taking 1 drop with every meal, okay, and then like overnight time when you go to sleep, you might, it's a long time, so you might want to take 2 drops. So say you have 1 drop with every meal and 2 drops before bed. 2 days later or 3 days later, you're feeling fine, no nothing. Have 2 drops with every meal and 3 drops before bed. Then a few days later, 3 drops with every meal, 4 drops before bed. You get the idea? So you just keep going, but over a period of time, you just keep increasing your dose until you reach homeostasis. And you might end up eating, like if you're suffering from cancer or some serious ailment, you might end up eating up to 1 gram a day. But if you've just got a headache or something like that, it might go away pretty quick. Alright? And then, you know, you don't really need to take it when you don't need it. What else do we need to know about? So there are many ways, applications. There's many ways to apply it. Don't just smoke it. Alright? And smoking it is really not the best way to apply it for medicine, because, I mean, it's good and it does work. It'll get rid of a headache if you suffer from migraines, a couple of cones or a couple of tokes on the joint, no more headache. So it does work, it is effective. But for serious ailments like cancer or, you know, something like that, then you need to keep it in your blood, you know, all the time. And so to be, you know, effective, then like keeping it in your blood 24/7 is and you should have also a meal with it, and preferably an oily, fatty meal, you know, and good stuff like avocados, you know. I'm not talking about fish and chips. Yeah, good oils, good fats, and with your dose. Even if it's of night time, late, you know, just have a bit of chocolate or something to go down with it, right? Because that will help it move through your body. That will help it become more bioavailable. You can mix it with olive oil or say coconut oil, right? So olive oil gets digested by the lymphatic system, right? So now the lymphatic system controls and regulates all the liquid in your body that's not blood. There's a lot of that. Tummy, eyes, you know, there's lots of it, okay? All through your body. There's even a new organ that they only found a couple of years ago. Bigger than our skin, which is the largest organ. So it's the largest organ in our body, and they only just found it. And it's called intracitrium. And it's part of the lymphatic system, and it goes underneath our skin and covers all our organs. Yeah, okay, so the lymphatic system. I'm not familiar with fascia. Tell me about fascia. Oh, no, that's a different story altogether. That's more security, like holding things together, like you say. They're like strands, even like, they're not muscles, but they're like sinew or something like that. Intracitrium. Intracitrium? Yeah. They only just named it. It's only been around, well, I've only just discovered it a few years back. Anyway, so yeah. And they do think that the intracitrium is the way that cancer spreads through the body really rapidly. When it does spread really rapidly, it's through that. So they say. So, olive oil gets digested by the lymphatic system and metabolized by the lymphatic system. So if there's anything in the lymphatic system you want to target, olive oil is a good one to do. Mix it 50-50 with the extract, and then you start taking that regularly, every meal, a little bit more of a night time. Keep increasing your dose until all your symptoms are gone and you're feeling fine. And then you might think, oh, it might come back. So then you can just take a maintenance dose till you feel confident enough that your body can handle anything. Okay, and the other one I mentioned was coconut oil. So coconut oil gets digested in your liver or metabolized in your liver. Okay, and that different system. That's your blood system. Okay. And so if you've got, you know, leukemia or something in your blood that you want to get rid of, or you want to reach somewhere in your body through the blood system, then coconut oil is a good one to mix it through. If you just want to get it through the whole system, then mix coconut oil and olive oil together, 50-50, and then mix that with your extract. Or you can just soak cannabis in it. Good. Yeah.
Is the liver, if you use coconut oil in a suppository, does that go through your liver then?
Yeah.
It still does?
Yeah, it's got to get metabolized. Yeah, so it goes then. Well, when you suppositories are pretty much like topicals, right? They don't really travel very far. They don't get much into your blood. They just kind of stay in the area that they're in, and they get absorbed by the skin cells or the cells all around it, right? And in the reproductive system, that's second to the brain. The brain's got the most amount of receptor sites for cannabis. The next system in our body that has the next amount close to that is the reproductive system. Okay, so as soon as you put any cannabinoids near that, they just get sucked up straight away by the endocannabinoid system in your reproductive system. It's hard for it to get away. Even really huge doses, because we're talking about millions of cells. Okay. Yeah. So targeting parts of your body, use different oils to do that. And topicals work really well. You can use topicals even to get rid of headaches or even anxiety. And you think, oh, how can that work? Well, I don't know, but it does work, right? How it works to get rid of anxiety is it's more of a physical thing than an actual mental thing, right? And that is, it calms your nerves, it calms your muscles down, so muscle relaxant. Okay, so when you get all that happening and you're feeling a bit anxious, and all of a sudden you're starting to calm down, well, obviously your psyche starts to calm down, right? So it doesn't actually lock into anything in your brain and go turn down the anxiety. It calms down all the things that anxiety is causing. Yeah. So it sort of treats all the symptoms of anxiety, which then calms anxiety down. What else do we need? Anyone got any questions about anything that I want to talk about? No. Okay. What else are we talking about? How to make medicines. Well, it's pretty easy to do that because it will mix with any fat or any oil. Alright, so just in your normal recipes that you would find online for, say, making lozenges or massage oils or anything like that, right? In the oily, fatty part of it, you can mix your cannabis with that. Now, there's two ways you can do that. You can, if you just get some extract, you can just add the extract to the oil. It'll mix pretty rapidly. You might need to warm it a little bit, but not very much. You know, just hold it in your hand, put it in your pot for a little while, and it'll get warm enough to mix. Or you can do an oil infusion. So that's called an oil infusion anyway. So when you do an oil infusion extract, you just put your oil in a container and chop your buds up, throw them in, dry them out, chop them up, throw them in the oil, leave it there for 2 weeks. We used to do it traditionally by the moon, so we'd start on a new moon and finish on a full moon, or start on a full moon and finish on a new moon. And just leave it soak, put it in, you know, somewhere like where it's going to be cool, where it's not going to overheat and stuff like that, so in a cupboard's fine for about 2 weeks, and then take it out, strain it, and you just need to strain it through, you know, anything from, you know, just a kitchen strainer to a stocking or whatever, and that'll get out most of the big stuff that's in there, and there might be some little tiny stuff in the bottom. I won't worry too much about that. You can just decanter off the top, just leave it settle. It'll settle. It might take a few days to settle, but just leave it settle, and then you can just pour the oil off the top and what's on the, you won't lose very much. Yes?
Could you compare for everybody how good, let's say, an ethanol extraction is compared to coconut oil?
Okay.
So how good are they specifically for fighting cancer?
Oh, right. Okay, for fighting cancer, what kind of cancer?
I'm just, yeah.
Okay, well, see, this is what applications are all about, right? Different medical products have different medical effects, but they are used for different ailments. Okay, so now we could use, if you've got a little skin cancer, you can put a little drop of tincture on that and it'll go really quickly. Okay, but you know, you can't use that in some sensitive places because alcohol will burn, like up your nose or, you know, in other sensitive places. So you can use an oil infusion to that. It'll take a little bit longer. Okay, so ethanol, or I should say tinctures, is what we call dry healing, and oil infusions is wet healing. So dry healing may leave a scar, but wet healing won't leave a scar. So the dry healing is way faster, and wet healing is the slow way. Okay, so it depends, like on what you're suffering from, as to how you use it. They're both very effective. They'll both do the same thing. They'll both kill cancer. One faster than the other, but it has its disadvantages with that speed as well. So another thing is, if you're taking it internally, if you've got tummy cancer or something like that, then you can only take so much alcohol. Alright, so when it's in tincture, even when you water it down, you can only take so much alcohol before you get drunk. Okay, so
No, more the ethanol extraction, Rick Simpson, I think.
okay.
Green, black oil.
Yeah, alright. Extracts. Okay, so it takes a bit of an art to do extracts. It's not just like, throw it in and go for it, right? You've got to really tune yourself and fine-tune yourself to it, and each day it can be different because the water content in the air, how hot it is, how cold it is, all makes a difference to the tincture. And then when you do the extract, you take the alcohol out of the tincture and you're left with the oil, right, which is an extract, which you concentrate.
Is that what they used to call hash oil?
Yes. Okay, and that's hash oil. We've always called it hash oil. It can be rich in THC, it can be rich in any of the other cannabinoids, CBD, CBN, it can be rich in any of them. Depends on what you started out with. Alright, so if you start out with a CBD rich plant and do that extract, then you'll end up with a CBD rich concentrate or extract or hash oil. Okay, if you do a THC rich plant, right, then you'll end up with a high THC or THC rich extract. So the different extracts are more effective for different ailments and different body types, and that's why we make so many different ones, really.
If you start with that, what we're talking about, the alcohol extraction, then mixing that back into, say, like you just suggested with the olive oil and the coconut oil,
Yeah.
so that's a good system?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, and that's the way most pros do it, because you can measure exactly each one, and you know exactly how much is in each drop, and you know how much dose you're getting, and so on. When you do a simple oil infusion where you just throw the buds into a bucket of oil and 2 weeks later pull them out, you don't know how much oil you actually put in there. Yeah. Right? And so we call that in the herbal industry a full strength extract, because that's what it is on the plant.
Is that FICO they're calling it now?
No. FICO stands for
Just trying to remember myself.
oh, it's early in the morning, guys.
Full extract cannabis.
Yeah, something like that.
And all
And,
the cannabinoids.
and it's just a stupid hippie name that we made up. Yeah, really, the herbalists will call that kind of thing whole plant extract. Okay, that's what it means. And all these other names that hippies made up are just fun. We just made them up for fun, really. They're not.
Hash oil is the original name, that's referred to it.
That's what we've always called. That's what I've always known it as. Yes. But you know.
Oh, we knew the benefits.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, I started out in the medical industry. Well, in playing around with medical cannabis when I was about 30 something. Anyway, it was back in the 90s, and before that, I just thought cannabis was a drug. Just like, everybody tells us it's a drug, right? And that's what I thought it was. So I didn't muck about with it. my dad was a herbalist, right? So I just grew up making herbal medicines all the time. He'd just have me in the lab going, do this, do that, do this, and I'd just do it, right? It was just what dads do, right? And yeah, I find it like quite interesting to do all these extracts with cannabis. Okay, so that's right, that's what I was talking about, how I started out, right? So then I had a car accident, right? And I crushed a lot of vertebrae in my back. And somehow I knew that, you know, whenever I smoked cannabis, the pain wasn't so bad. I could get up and walk around, I could do things. And so that's what I used to do, smoke lots of cannabis. And people would see me come, all my friends, and they'd say, quick, Radic, come on, put the gun away, he'll smoke a lot. And I could smoke an ounce in a day if I was having a bad day, if I was in a lot of pain, right? Anyway, so about the 95 or so, I realised, I read this book that said cannabis is herbaceous, and all the pennies just dropped in my head. Why am I doing all this when I can make medicines out of it, right? So that's what I started doing straight away. I started making all sorts of medicines out of it, and it works. It works really good. I don't have any pain now. Like, I haven't had any pain for years now. I still use it a lot. But, you know.
Not an ounce a day.
No, nowhere near an ounce a day anyway. I don't have those problems anymore. It never gets to that pain level anymore. I can always control it before it gets anywhere near that.
What's your preferred way to explain?
I use balms. I really love balms because it's like close to my skin. I can reach it pretty easy.
Direct.
Yeah, so then I can just rub it in straight away, and within moments the pain goes, and I'm freed up and I can move around. Not minutes, moments.
Those balms be oil, olive oil or coconut oil or something different again?
I mostly use oils that move into your lymphatic system because the skin's got a lot in it, right? So yeah, I use olive oil, hemp seed oil, sesame oil. All those oils will go into your lymphatic system. So yeah, I use mostly hemp seed oil for the balms for pain because it works really good for me. But olive oil is just as good. If you want to use it in your tummy, sesame oil is one of the better ones because it encourages all your biome, which is all your microbes in your tummy. It enhances their abilities. So it's really good for your tummy, sesame oil.
What were you saying about sesame oil?
Okay, it enhances all your biome, which is all of your, inside your tummy you've got all these microbes, right? Yeah, so it enhances their abilities to break down and to digest your food.
Would you call that prebiotic then in a way?
Yes, in a way, but it's not actually. Yes, I would call it that. It would fit into that category, you're right. Yeah. But it's different to most prebiotics, because most prebiotics are not oils. Okay? So some people might say, no, it's not a prebiotic because it's oily, it's too oily. But it does pretty much the same thing, so yeah. Any more questions, anyone?
Is this product or what you make, is this illegal? Can I access this through?
Yes.
I can?
Yes, all of it. Yes. But unfortunately, most doctors don't understand cannabis. They don't understand the homeostasis part of it. They don't really know how to treat you. When you go to a doctor, they'll usually ask you, how are you using it? Right? Because you usually go and say, oh doc, I want to get on medical cannabis. I've been using it, you know, before, and it works for me, and so I want to get the real deal, please. And the doc will go, yeah, well, how are you using it? Because they don't know. So you might say, oh, I was eating it or I was smoking it, and they usually say, okay, here's your supply, just continue on the way you're going because it's worked. Alright? Yeah.
You explain it, the doctors have no idea.
No, they do. They've got an idea. The problem the doctors face is there's no clinical trials, and clinical trials gives them the dose rate, you know, all the evidence, yeah, all the evidence they need to say that it works comes from the clinical trials. And because we haven't had many of them, doctors are really scared to go out on a limb and say things like, you know, try taking cannabis in your tummy several times a day. Right? They don't know. So they ask you how you've been using it and whether it's been effective, and if so, they'll recommend that you continue on the way you're going and so on. Yeah, they're not herbalists. They don't know about herbs. That's the problem. They don't know how to prescribe it. But we're getting there. There are some really good doctors around that are well worth talking to.
Do you think, you said 10 years ago is when they first discovered the noise in our brain?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that when they then thought, oh, we can't keep this, we've got to do more studies and
yeah, well, there's a lot of politics.
Started to emerge the medical from...
Absolutely, yeah. Once they found out what it was doing and how it was doing it, it really exploded. But you know, there's a lot of politics involved. You know, if we look at the statistics nowadays, say in California or so on, you know, the alcohol consumption rate's gone down. And once the alcohol consumption rate goes down, so do car accidents, violence, you know. Lots of things goes down once alcohol goes down. And there's a big industry, alcohol industry, and they do not like that. They do not want that because that means their profits come down. That means their pocket gets emptied. They do not like that. And they will not encourage that. Yeah. Now, there was a test done on binge drinking, right? On all these kids binge drinking at universities. And they found that people after a binge drinking session who had cannabis in their blood had more brain cells intact than people who didn't have cannabis in their blood. Okay, so the only way the alcohol industry is going to do any good is to join us, is to start putting some cannabis in their beers so that it protects your brain and you don't lose so many. Otherwise, it's just going to stop. There's people are just going to go, oh, I'd much rather have a relaxing time with cannabis than, well, the whole idea of that kind of going to the pub and stuff like that after work is to de-stress. Right? It's really a medical thing. Okay, fun is medicine, right? Fun is de-stressing. Okay, so you should have that every day. Fun. All right, and so that's why, you know, the pub's there, right? To de-stress. You go up there, boom, have a couple of beers, goodbye, at the end of your day. So people will much rather de-stress with medicines that don't cause cancer, don't cause problems, that actually help you rather than hinder you. So that's why, you know, alcohol is going to go down and cannabis is going to go up. People are just going to swap over to it. They're already doing that in the States. It's already shown. We can see it, evidence of it. It's going to happen.
In many ways too, it seems to me, and I'd like to give you comments on that, it points to help out for cannabis is because ethanol, strictly speaking, is a poison.
Exactly.
So mixing poison with cannabis would seem to be counterproductive. But you're saying, just help me here, but you seem to be saying, and it makes some sense to me, that because of its, I guess, therapeutics, it's really sort of in some respect.
So there's a really old Pythagoras saying, what is it? Medicines in the hands of foolish is poison. Poison in the hands of wise is medicine. Okay, so it's all a matter of dose rate, and it's all a matter of how you apply your poison to whether it's going to be a medicine, effective, or whether it's going to cause damage. Okay, and so alcohol, exactly that thing. All right, if you have it at the right dose rate, it will actually, it has medical benefits. Yeah, and those medical benefits come into play when you have it at the right dose rate, and we have over that dose rate, that's when you can get drunk. And
well, I was thinking specifically about tinctures, for example, which are made with sometimes quite high degrees, or sometimes made with
95% to 98% ethanol. That's right. Yes, but you're only taking drops of that. I think most tinctures are recommended around about a mil a day, oh no, an hour. Over that, and that's 25 drops, right? So if you, yes, of course, right? So yeah, that's right. It depends on how fast your body can metabolize and break down alcohol and get rid of it, right? Alcohol is very useful for us. We use it in a lot of ways in our bodies.
It's like a homeopathic dose of alcohol.
Well, yeah, no, it's not that fine a dose. Like I said, you can have, well, you could probably go up to about 3 mils of 95% before you start to feel a bit merry. And again, it depends on some people who are very susceptible to alcohol and some people are not. So some people might go 4 or 5 mils before they feel it. Other people might feel it at about 2 mils. Okay, but anywhere under there, under those levels, it's very medical for us.
The tincture that's like made in 100% or 94% alcohol, I mean, you cut it back down to 50 once you've got your extract. You can put a bit of water in it or whatever and dilute it a little bit so it's not so intense, the alcohol.
No,
I mean, you don't have to have 100% drops on your tongue of 94% alcohol.
Yeah, but it doesn't cut it down very much because it's like a flavouring. We would mix, say, okay, so a full strength is basically what comes off the plant, right? So, and that we call 100 to 1. We sort of round it off at about 100 to 1 because different plants have different amounts of cannabinoids on them. Okay, but basically around about 100 to 1 is called full strength. 60 to 1 is called double strength, and 30 to 1 is called triple strength. And then if you want to make it stronger than that, that's when you specialize in like a cream or a treatment to treat cancer. Okay, that's a specialist thing once you go over triple strength. Triple strength you can buy off the shelf.
And some cancers feed off THC. Like certain breast cancers are you have to treat certain breast cancers, estrogen-fed cancers versus not, something like that. You have to be careful whether you're taking just straight THC or a different kind.
So who do you go to?
I don't know about that. Because we're talking about homeostasis here.
I suspect that the cancer's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, we know it kills cancers, but it doesn't kill every cancer.
It depends, well that's it, because
a different
application. See, that's what we're talking about here.
I'm talking about breast cancer in particular.
Right, okay, yeah.
There should be a focus on that. You can't just take THC necessarily. Maybe you need more of a CBD.
Oh, well, I've always said, okay, I hear you, but I've always thought that, you know, the more cannabinoids you can get in one dose, the more effective it's going to be. The only cannabinoid that's really going to stop you from doing that is THC, because the more of that you have, the more high you get, and that's going to ruin your day too much of that. You don't need to be doing that 24/7 if you're suffering from a cancerous condition, right? And that's what you need to do. You need to take it 24/7. And the more cannabinoids, the more you can get, different ones, the better. So THC, CBN, CBG, CBD, all of those ones if you can get it. What I usually do is I make extracts from those plants, and then I've got all these rich extracts, and then I'll mix them together at what suits you and your body type.
Is that from different strains?
Exactly, it's from different varieties of cannabis. Some are rich in CBD. Yeah, but you do the extract first, and you end up with all these hash oils, and then those oils you mix together.
Do you actually measure what's in the plant, the percentage? Or you just...
It's hard to do that without the right equipment, which costs a lot of money. You need a clean room to do it in. It's very, it's very, very tricky. There are people around who've bought it and done it. They're not accurate because you really need to do when you do something like that. You really need to be very precise. You need to be able to repeat the process and come up with the same results. And that's not many people can do that. I've even taken things to the laboratories in Southern Cross Uni, given them two of exactly the same extract out of the same bottle, and they've come back different. They've come back with different results. Yeah, it's really, really hard to do. It's not easy. I've had scientists come to me and say, look, we made this, it's a CO2 extract, but we've never seen it before. We don't know if that is what it's supposed to be. And did we get the right thing? And we went, yeah, that's it, no problem. I just gave them a few little pointers how to prep the herb before they put it in the machine, and they were fine about that. But they didn't know what it looked like, so they had to come and ask me. That was weird, wasn't it? Anyway, I thought it was weird. Here's a scientist who knows all about this stuff coming up to me and saying, is this hash oil?
With the strains, so people starting to work out certain strains, certain ailments, or is it more about, like you said, getting all of the, there's many different CBG, CBD, CBN, CBD,
that's the way.
CBD, just get as much of it all together and hit everything with the same sort of...
Yeah, if you're dealing with a serious issue that won't go away, call them chronic conditions. Right? And the chronic conditions is something that you've been suffering from for 12 months or more. Okay, and acute conditions are, bang me thumb with a hammer, ow! But it'll go away. It won't stay there forever. Alright? Yes?
So maybe I heard it correctly, but did you say CO2 extraction?
Yes.
How does that work?
How does that work? Well, CO2, when it's under pressure, becomes a liquid.
Oh, so they have to do it under pressure?
Yes. Oh, huge pressure. But, well, there are ways of doing it. So you can use dry ice.
Yeah.
Alright, so...
Is that with ethanol as well as dry ice?
No, just use dry ice. And the bags that they use to make ice water hash with?
Oh, like bubble hash, yeah.
Yes, right, so you just throw your buds, don't break them up too much, throw your buds in a bucket of dry ice into one of those bags and shake it over a table in a room where it's not going to blow all over the place, because it's very light. Right, and don't shake it high, just shake it down low to the table, and all the crystals will fall out. Don't overdo it, because it'll just break up the green and you'll get a lot of plant matter in there. Yeah, so there are ways of doing it without supercritical pressure, but then you got to go and buy that stuff, right? So you need to buy dry ice, which, up the Gold Coast there's a place up there, another place down Grafton, is it Grafton? Yamba, another place down Yamba. Okay. Any more questions about anything else? I must be getting close to me time, am I?
Yes. We're shortly going to be having our next speaker who's sitting in the back of the hall there.
Yeah, I thought so. Greetings.
A talk on Amanita muscaria.
Oh, awesome.
Winding up in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Mushrooms are really good too. Medical mushrooms, you've got to go for that.